Welcome to Breaking Ties, Is Divorce the Answer? This is your go-to source for practical advice and support when considering if a divorce is the right answer for you. Join us each weekday for a quick chat where we'll uncover a variety of topics such as child custody, property division, and self-care. Together, we'll explore the emotional, financial, and legal aspects of divorce and help you find the best path forward for you and your family. Here is your host and Certified Divorce Financial Analyst Professional, Mike Fulkerson.
Welcome to the Breaking Ties, Is Divorce the Answer podcast. I'm your host, Mike Fulkerson. I'm a financial advisor and a certified divorce financial analyst professional. And today we'll be discussing a sensitive but important topic, the cost of divorce. Divorce can be a difficult and emotional experience for most people, but it's also important to understand the financial aspect of it. So let's take a look. First, we're going to talk about the average cost of a divorce. This number can vary depending on a number of such factors. You got to look at things like the complexity of the divorce proceedings. The state you live in actually plays a pretty important role, and whether you choose to hire a lawyer or use alternative methods like mediation. A divorce could be in the thousands of dollars, or it could go well into the tens of thousands of dollars and then some. Now, another factor that can impact the cost of a divorce is whether it's a contested or uncontested divorce. An uncontested divorce is one where both parties agree on the terms of the divorce, such as property division and child custody. This type of divorce is usually less expensive and can be completed in a relatively short period of time. On the other hand, a contested divorce involves a disagreement between the parties and can require trial proceedings, which can be more costly, as we all know. In addition to the legal fees, there are other expenses to consider during a divorce. For example, if you have children, you may need to pay for child care or a custody evaluator. If you own property, you may need to pay for an appraisal to determine the value of it. And if you're dividing assets like retirement accounts, you may need to pay a financial advisor to help you understand your options. All of these costs can add up and significantly increase the overall cost of the divorce itself. It's also important to consider the long-term financial impact of a divorce. For example, if you were the primary breadwinner in your marriage, you may be required to pay spousal support or child support or both, which that can definitely affect your finances for many years to come. And if you share debt with your spouse, you'll need to determine how that debt will also be divided. These are all considerations to keep in mind when estimating the cost of a divorce. That covers pretty much the bulk of it. The cost of a divorce can vary greatly. It really does depend on each person's unique situation and what you have and how it's involved and how the spouses relate to each other. It's important to also be aware of all of the potential expenses that may arise during the process itself. If you're considering a divorce, it's a good idea to consult with a financial advisor and or a divorce attorney if you're looking for a better understanding of the financial implications. Now, should you have any questions on today's topic or other financial planning issues, feel free to reach out to me using the contact information in the description. I'm always happy to help any way I can. Divorce is not the end of your story. It is the start of your next great chapter. Thanks for listening, and be sure to check out the other podcasts we have. All the best. Hello, listeners. I hope you're having a good day, and welcome to the Breaking Ties, Is Divorce the Answer podcast. I'm your host, Mike Fulkerson, financial advisor and certified divorce financial analyst professional. And today we're going to talk about the emotional side of divorce. Breaking ties isn't just a legal process. It's a deeply personal journey, and it requires emotional preparedness. So grab a cup of tea, find a comfortable space, and let's explore some ideas on how to emotionally prepare for a divorce. Firstly, we want to acknowledge our feelings. And while this isn't always easy because divorce is a significant life change. It's okay to feel a whirlwind of emotions. Everything from anger, sadness, fear, and even relief. Take the time to recognize and accept these feelings. Journaling is often a therapeutic way to express and understand your emotions. It's a private space, and you can be honest with yourself about what you're going through. Next, work on building a support system. You don't have to go through this process alone. Reach out to friends, family, or a therapist who can provide a listening ear and guidance. Surrounding yourself with a support network can make a world of difference. Attend support groups or engage in online forums where you can connect with others who have gone through or are going through a similar experience. Remember, there really is strength in sharing your story. Now, during this time, you also want to make sure we're doing self-care. When it's an emotionally charged time, taking care of yourself becomes even more important. Establish routines to promote your well-being, such as regular exercise, a healthy diet, and getting enough sleep, which is hard enough in and of itself. Consider activities that bring you joy and relaxation, whether it's reading, painting, or simply taking a walk in nature. Investing in self-care time is an emotional investment that will help you be more resilient. Communication is key. If possible, try to have an open and honest conversation with your soon-to-be ex-spouse. Express your feelings and listen to theirs. It's not a one-way street. This includes everything from financial planning, future living arrangements, and co-parenting, if children are involved. Understanding the logistics can help reduce anxiety and provide a clear path forward. Consulting with legal professionals and financial advisors can be a beneficial way of navigating all the issues that'll be coming. Lastly, embrace change as an opportunity for growth. Divorce marks the end of one chapter, but opens the door to new possibilities. Take time to rediscover yourself, your interests, your goals. Consider seeking out new experiences and challenges that align with the person you are and who you want to be. I want to thank you for joining me today on this episode of Breaking Ties. Is Divorce the Answer? Remember, emotional preparation is a critical part of the divorce journey. Now, should you have any questions on today's topic or other financial planning issues, I'm always happy to help. So just look up my information in the podcast description, email me or call me, and I'll do what I can to give us a hand. Divorce is not the end of your story. It is the start of your next great chapter. Take care. Hi, and welcome to another episode of Breaking Ties, Is Divorce the Answer podcast. I'm Mike Fulkerson, financial advisor and a certified divorce financial analyst professional. Today, we're going to discuss the top 10 financial pitfalls of divorce. Divorce is a difficult time emotionally, financially. It's not a great process. It's very difficult and challenging. We really want to be prepared and aware of the potential financial consequences. The first pitfall is unforeseeable legal fees. The cost of a divorce can quickly add up, especially if it's a contentious one. It's important to have a clear understanding of the legal fees involved and to budget for them appropriately. The second pitfall is the loss of assets. In a divorce, assets such as a house, cars, and investments may need to be divided between two parties. It's important to understand the value of these assets and to negotiate a fair division of assets. The third pitfall is spousal maintenance or child support. These are ongoing payments that one spouse may be required to make to another. It is also vital to understand the laws and regulations in your state regarding spousal maintenance and child support, and make sure you negotiate a fair amount. Fourth pitfall, loss of retirement savings. Retirement savings such as 401ks, IRAs, pensions, and other retirement accounts may need to be divided in a divorce. This division and distribution of assets can have a massive impact on your financial future. The fifth pitfall is a decrease in credit score. A divorce can have a significant impact on your credit score, especially if you were previously a joint account holder. It's important to monitor your credit score during and after the divorce to make sure that it changes appropriately. Number 6 on the list here is the loss of insurance coverage. Health insurance, life insurance, and other types of insurance may need to be renegotiated during a divorce. It's important to understand the coverage you currently have and to make sure it continues after the divorce. On to the 7th pitfall. That one is hidden debt. It's essential to be aware of all of your joint debts and make sure they are paid off before the divorce is finalized. You don't really want to have any surprises once the divorce is final. The 8th pitfall is the need to revise your estate plan. It is important to update your will, power of attorney, and other estate planning documents after a divorce to ensure that the assets are distributed according to your wishes. It is not likely you would like your ex-spouse to be the beneficiaries of all your assets. For the 9th pitfall, we have tax implications of a divorce. Divorce can have a significant impact on your taxes, and it's important to understand the tax implications of any agreements made during the divorce. And our final pitfall is emotional spending. Divorce is very stressful and emotionally charged. It's important to be mindful of your spending and not make any impulsive financial decisions. And that concludes our top 10 list of financial pitfalls of divorce. I'm sure there are others as well that could make the list. So you're going to want to be careful and take your time going through this. Being prepared and aware of the potential financial consequences might help mitigate some of the stress and make the transition a little bit easier. Should you have any questions on today's topic or other financial planning issues, feel free to reach out. My contact information is in the podcast description, and I will do what I can to assist you. Divorce is not the end of your story. It is the start of your next great chapter. Until next time, take care. Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's episode of Breaking Ties, Is Divorce the Answer? I'm your host, Mike Fulkerson, financial advisor and Certified Divorce Financial Analyst professional. Today, I'd like to discuss a topic of arbitration in divorce and how it works in the proceedings. When couples decide to end their marriage, they often face the question of how to divide their assets, settle any disputes, and reach an agreement that is fair to both parties. One option that many couples choose is arbitration, which is a process of resolving disputes outside of the court. So, what is it? How does arbitration work in divorce cases? Arbitration is a form of alternative dispute resolution that involves a neutral third party called an arbitrator, who is appointed to make binding decisions in the dispute. In divorce cases, the arbitrator can be used to settle issues related to property division, child custody, support, and any other disputes that arise during the divorce process. Unlike going to court, the arbitration process is usually quicker and less formal. The parties can agree on a schedule that works for them, and they can also choose the arbitrator, who can be a retired judge, a lawyer, a specialist in family law. The arbitration process is private, which means that the proceedings are not open to the public, and the decision is not subject to appeal, unless there is a question of law involved. One advantage of arbitration is that it allows the parties to have more control over the outcome of their case. They can choose the arbitrator and the rules that will be used in the arbitration, and they can also agree on the outcome in advance. Additionally, arbitration is often less expensive than going to court, and it can be less stressful for the parties involved. However, it's important to remember that arbitration is not for everyone. The process can be less formal than going to court, but still requires the parties to follow certain rules and procedures. And since the decision of the arbitrator is binding, it's important for both parties to understand the consequences of their agreement before entering into an arbitration process. In conclusion, arbitration can be a useful tool for couples who are getting divorced and want to resolve their disputes outside of court. It can be quicker, less expensive, and less stressful than going to court. But it's important to understand that the process and consequences of the agreement before entering into arbitration. That's all for today's episode. I hope you found the information helpful. Should you have any questions on today's topic or other financial planning issues, please reach out to me. My contact information is in the podcast description. Email or call, and I will do what I can to help. Divorce is not the end of your story. It is the start of your next great chapter. Thank you for listening. Welcome to today's episode of Breaking Ties Is Divorce the Answer podcast. I'm your host, Mike Fulkerson. I'm a financial advisor and certified divorce financial analyst professional. And today, let's talk about the subject of school selection for children in the event of a divorce. When a couple decides to divorce, one of the most important decisions that needs to be made is where the children will attend school. This decision can have a profound impact on the child's education, socializing, and overall well-being. We want to take several factors into consideration when selecting a school for children during a divorce. These factors may include the quality of education, the proximity of the school to the parents' homes, the availability of after-school programs, and the reputation of the school. Additionally, the age of the children and their individual needs should also be taken into consideration. In an ideal scenario, the parents would work together to make a joint decision regarding the school that the children will attend. This requires good communication and a willingness to put the children's best interests first. If the parents are unable to come to a decision, a court may step in and make a decision for them. It is important for parents to think about the long-term implications of the school selection decision. Children will be attending school for many years, and it's essential that the school chosen will provide them with the best opportunities for their future. That concludes today's episode of the Breaking Ties Is Divorce the Answer podcast. I hope you found the information on how to select a school for your children when you get divorced helpful. It's a difficult topic, and you definitely want to do what's right for the kids so that way they feel comfortable with the transition as well. Be sure to check out other episodes of the Breaking Ties podcasts, and do not hesitate to share this information with others you know considering a divorce. Should you have any questions on today's topics or other financial planning issues, feel free to contact me using the information in the description. I'm always available to help. Divorce is not the end of your story. It is the start of your next great chapter. Thank you for tuning in, and until next time, take care.
We want to thank you for listening to this episode of Breaking Ties Is Divorce the Answer with Mike Fulkerson. For questions, please reach out to Mike via email in the description or give him a shout at 630-444-1410. And remember to subscribe, like, and follow.